You look at the newer Z2 Pro for about 30 seconds, and the first thing you think is, wait a second, is this basically the Z3R's little brother? And honestly, yeah, that is exactly the vibe here. But that also makes this flash weirdly interesting because the Z3R was one of those products I initially did not even want to review. I kind of looked at it, shrugged, and thought, do we really need another on-camera flash pretending it has studio ambitions? And then I actually used it, and that thing completely flipped the script on me and became my favorite flash. So now Neewer has this Z2 Pro sitting here like the younger sibling who borrowed the same homework, changed a few answers, and still wants full credit. The real question is whether that's a good thing for photographers or whether this is where compromise starts to show. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what the Z2 Pro is, who it makes sense for, where it differs from the Z3R, and whether giving up some power actually matters in real world shooting, because that's the part that always gets lost in flash reviews. Everybody loves to throw around watt seconds like we're all powering a small star cruiser. But what matters is how the thing behaves when you're actually photographing people, bouncing flash in a real room, or trying to move quickly without carrying a brick on your camera. Now, just so you know where I'm coming from, I'm not judging this stuff by who has the prettiest spec sheet or the most dramatic product photos with cyberpunk fog in the background. I care about how a flash feels on camera, how fast it gets back in the game, how easy it is to trust, and whether it solves problems without creating three new ones. That's why the Z3R caught me off guard in the first place. On paper, I thought, okay, fine, another compactish roundhead TTL flash. Then I used it and realized Neewer had built something that was actually practical, powerful, and easy to like. That's a dangerous combo for my wallet and probably yours too. So here's the simple roadmap. First, I want to talk about what the Z2 Pro actually is. Then I'll compare it directly to the Z3R in the ways that matter most. And then I'll get into who should buy which one, because that's usually where the real answer lives. The Z2 Pro is basically Neewer's smaller, lighter, lower power take on the same overall idea. You still get a round head TTL flash, high speed sync, wireless control, the familiar lithium battery setup, a modeling light, and that same hybrid identity where it feels like a speedlight that wants to be taken more seriously than a normal speedlight. It's rated at 76 watt seconds instead of the Z3R's 100. And that one number tells you a lot about this flash before you even put batteries in anything. This is not the alpha sibling. This is the more compact, easier to live with version. And honestly, for a lot of people, that's exactly the point. The first big difference is power. The Z3R gives you 100 watt seconds. The Z2 Pro gives you 76. That means if you're constantly pushing a flash hard, especially outdoors, especially in bright conditions, especially if you're trying to overpower sunlight or push through large modifiers off camera, the Z3R still has the stronger hand. There's just no magical YouTube optimism that can change physics. More power is more power. If you shoot events in ugly banquet halls with black ceilings from the underworld, or you're bouncing flash off surfaces that seem determined to absorb every photon in the room, the Z3R gives you more breathing room. But here's where the Z2 Pro gets interesting. Not everybody needs that extra output. In fact, a lot of photographers are carrying more flash than they actually use. If most of your work is portraits, casual events, family stuff, indoor shooting, or controlled off-camera work where you're not trying to win a fist fight with the sun, 76 watt seconds is plenty useful. I'm actually curious how many of you are walking around with a flash that spends most of its life loafing at a quarter power or less, because that seems to be the hidden reality with a lot of this gear. The next difference is size and weight. And this is one of those boring sounding specs that stops being boring the second a long shoot starts annoying your wrist. The Z2 Pro is lighter than the Z3R, and that matters more than spec sheet warriors like to admit. Once the flash lives on top of your camera for a couple of hours, every bit of bulk becomes very real. The Z3R is not huge, but the Z2 Pro is clearly the more travel-friendly, easier on-camera option. So, if you like the idea of the Z3R, but thought it was a little too much flash for the way you shoot, the Z2 Pro starts making a lot of sense fast. Then there's recycle time and battery behavior, and this is where Neewer did something smart. The Z2 Pro is rated for a slightly faster recycle time, so even though it gives up raw punch, it gives you a bit more stamina and speed in return. That trade makes sense. A lower power flash should feel a little quicker on its feet, and in real use, that can matter more than peak output. If you're shooting people and trying to keep a rhythm going, especially when expressions change in half a second, a flash that's ready again faster can be more valuable than one that's theoretically stronger but a little slower to get back into the fight. This is also why I think calling the Z2 Pro the Z3R's baby brother is actually fair. It keeps the family resemblance, same concept, same general purpose, same round head, lithium powered TTL and HSS approach, but it's tuned more for convenience, mobility, and efficiency than for maximum muscle. Another thing I like here is that Neewer didn't strip this thing down into some sad little budget compromise box. And one of the better examples is the way the Z2 Pro handles in actual use. It does not have a touchscreen like the Z3R, so yes, that's one difference you notice right away. And I would say the menu is not quite as simple as the Z3R, but Neewer gave you a large LCD. And once you spend a few minutes with the buttons and dials, it becomes easy enough to learn without much drama. You're not standing there doing thumb yoga and decoding alien symbols just to change a setting. It's still straightforward enough to work quickly once you get the hang of it. It also keeps the magnetic head concept from the Z3R, and that's genuinely a useful carryover because swapping magnetic modifiers and filters is just easy. No fiddling around, no tiny plastic drama, no breaking the flow while your subject wonders if you've entered the troubleshooting phase of the mission. And one more practical thing here, Neewer does support firmware updates on these flashes through USB-C, and actually been pretty active with firmware support lately. So if you do pick one up, definitely check the firmware version and make sure it's updated before you start judging how the flash behaves. You still get the modern UI, TTL, manual switching, wireless system support, and the kind of features that make it feel like part of a serious lighting setup instead of just a casual accessory you toss in a bag and forget about until a reception hall goes dark. That matters because a lot of smaller sibling products end up feeling like they had all the personality removed in a committee meeting. This one doesn't look like that. And having a capable flash is only half the equation. You still need to understand how TTL works, how to balance the flash with the available light, and which Nikon Z settings actually control the result. That is exactly the kind of thing we work through in my live Nikon Z bootcamp. It's an 8-week program where I help you understand your camera, autofocus, exposure, flash, and the settings Nikon tends to hide, 3 menus deep, just for fun. The class is limited to only 12 photographers, so you can ask questions and get personalized help along the way. Registration is now open. Scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description to learn more and reserve your seat. Now, if you're wondering whether the Z2 Pro replaces the Z3R, I don't think that's the right way to see it. I think it exists because the Z3R proved the concept. That's the funny part. The flash I didn't initially want to review ended up becoming my favorite flash, and now here comes the version that feels like Neewer looked at the Z3R and said, okay, what if we build one for the photographer who loves that idea but doesn't need all 100 watt seconds hanging off the top of the camera all day? And price is part of why this gets interesting so quickly. On Neewer's US store, the Z2 Pro is listed at $259.99, while the Z3R is listed at $279.99. So the Z2 Pro is the cheaper flash right out of the gate. Now, that is not some massive canyon-sized gap. But when you pair the lower price with the lighter body, the slightly faster recycle time, and the fact that a lot of photographers simply do not need the extra power of the Z3R, it puts the Z2 Pro in a really strong spot. And that's why the buying decision is actually pretty straightforward. If you want the most power in this pair, get the Z3R. If you're regularly shooting in demanding conditions and need more output headroom, or just prefer having a stronger flash because you know you'll use it, the Z3R still earns its spot. Let me know in the comments whether you would choose the extra power of the Z3R or the lighter, more affordable Z2 Pro. And please, consider subscribing for more Nikon Z tutorials, reviews, and practical photography tips. You'll also find my link to my live Nikon Z bootcamp in the description if you're ready to stop guessing and really learn how to make your camera work for you.